Okumana Asle Koreka Mano Viran Prabhavinu Bhadiravidvantah Saramtva Havamahe Namaha Sambhavaya Mayudbhavaya Namaha Sankaraya Maheskaraya Namaha Shivaya Shivataraya Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Shivakaram Urvarukam Yoganjavadito Mukhiyamamrita.
Hello friends, this is KK Singh Vedic Astrologer and welcome to my YouTube channel Om Astro Jyoti. And again we are having a wonderful guest with us, Fernando Ji from Puerto Rico, and he is going to talk about the Malavya Yoga, Malavya Panch Maha Purush Yoga given by Venus. So without wasting any time, let us start the discussion. So yes, Fernando Ji. So today we are going to discuss about the Malavya Yoga, and as in the usual pattern, we do it from BPHS Brihat Prasar Hora Shastra, and after that we do it from Faladipika, and then we discuss in our own language.
Yeah.
So definitely, sir. So you can take up the stage and start the discussion.
So first of all, Kaushal, thank you very much for having me once again here. Now we continue the series of the Panch Maha Purushas, and we move to the only Panch Maha Purusha that is of a female planet, which is very interesting. First of all, let's just review the etymological meaning or the etymological roots of the term Panch Maha Purusha Yoga from the Sanskrit perspective. Panch Maha Purusha Yoga. So Pancha, 5, Maha, great, big, whatever. Purusha, usually person, and Yoga, union. It's the union of the 5 great people that allude to the 5 Taragrahas, which are the starry planets, right? Which are Buddha, Shukra, Mangal, and obviously Guru and Shani. And each one of them has a Pancha Maha Purusha Yoga that goes by a certain name. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Malavya Yoga that applies to Shukra Deva, or, well, you know, Shukra Graha, or, you know, Venus,
Shukra.
whatever.
Yes, Venus.
So Malavya Yoga, as I said, is the only one that applies to Venus. We see that Venus is a Sattvic planet, just like Jupiter. So we're going to see a lot of confluence between, you know, what Hamsa Yoga manifested and Malavya Yoga manifested, in my opinion. As I've said before, all planets that show Pancha Maha Purusha Yogas will show Sattvic qualities, including, obviously, Shani and Kuya, or Mangal. But they're going to still be tamasic in nature, but they're going to show certain Sattvic qualities, and the same goes for Bhadra Yoga, for Buddha. Okay? But with Jupiter and with Venus, the qualities which are already Sattvic become even more graceful, become even more, you know, comfortable in terms of agreeable, and in terms of just manifesting themselves in a very graceful, beautiful way. So grace is a great word to describe Malavya Yoga to start off, and also to describe Hamsa. Now, let's start etymologically also with Malavya Yoga. What does Malavya mean? It's interesting because not a lot of people know what Malavya means. As I have heard, and as I have read, Malavya stems from a city in central India that historically in ancient past was the place, or was very renowned for being a place where certain artisans lived, where they created certain colors, certain accessories that were of a very beautiful kind, of a very beautiful quality. I don't know if you know more about that, about Malavya, or...
Yes, it was actually in the central place. It was, you see, when the geography changed, a lot of name changed and everything was different. But there was a kingdom of Malwa. Okay. And especially it is in the, what we say, it is in the Vidarbha region of India. Now, Vidarbha region is the area where it is modern day Chhattisgarh and Maharashtra part and Madhya Pradesh, this area. Okay, right. Some part of the Maharashtra, right, Vidarbha. and also it was extended till Gujarat also, because at that moment of time the boundary was not very much, what to say, they don't use the perfect maps for everything. So what they used to do, they used to say, okay, till this river my kingdom exists, after this river your kingdom exists, so something like that. So Mahanadi, Mahanadis are, means there are 10 big nadis, means the river flowing in India. So especially the Tapi, okay, Tapi and Narmada, these two rivers which are coming from the Gujarat, and the area which is enclosing the area of these two parallel rivers, they are almost parallel. But Tapi is a little bit smaller and Narmada is larger. So all the area encompassing these two great rivers were coming in the Vidarbha region till Central America, I mean Central India, means from the starting point till the end point of the river. So, and their capital was Malwa. So Malwa was very, what to say, was having a very rich heritage in their own uh, sculpture, painting, and all the things which was especially dedicated to, or the work of the artisans were huge there.
Yeah, and as
So
you
it
know,
also came from there.
yeah, and as you know, and as a lot of viewers know, those are Venusian qualities. Because
Right.
Venus, the Daitya Guru, the spiritual counselor in the planetary cabinet analogy that Parashara gives in chapter 3 and Varahamihira repeats in chapter 2 of Brihajataka, is basically the counselor of the king and queen, but from a more mundane point of view. Did I say spiritual? I'm sorry, I didn't mean spiritual. Spiritual counselor is Jupiter. Venus is
Jupiter.
more the mundane counselor. She is the
Mundane
counselor that counsels about culture, about art, about what the people think. That's why Venus and Saturn are so good friends. So
Right.
as you see, Malavya Yoga will have this intrinsic qualities in terms of art, in terms of aesthetics, right? Now, Venus or Chukra relates a lot to arts, yes, femininity, yes,
Correct.
but Venus in essence is satisfaction. Venus is relaxation. Venus is understanding. And whenever you have Venus in a Malavya Yoga, these qualities are going to be very present and very strong. This is not only going to be a person that has great aesthetic appeal, great taste in art, in beauty, and they are going to be beautiful without a doubt, but they're also going to have a strong sense of understanding, pleasure, and satisfaction. Okay, so before we continue, it is very important to first, define what a Malavya Yoga is in theory from a very basic perspective, right? Malavya Yoga only occurs when you have Venus either in Vrishaba, Tula, or Meena. And in terms of essential dignity, they have to be there. They have to be either in Taurus, in Libra, or in Pisces. And in terms of accidental dignity, they have to be either in Lagna, the 4th house, the 7th house, or the 10th house. From Lagna. That is the basic definition for Malavya Yoga. Now, some people do it from the sun, some people do it from the moon, but a real Malavya Panch Maha Purusha Yoga has to be from Lagna. Now, if the sun is in Lagna, if the moon is in Lagna, then it becomes stronger. But a Malavya Yoga has to be from Lagna. So basically, people who have Malavya Yoga, and I believe this is the only, if I'm not mistaken, this is the only yoga of the Panch Maha Purusha Yogas that can occur in any Lagna. Because you have a fixed place, you have a cardinal place, and you have a dual place, right? In Vadra Yoga, only occurs in Lagnas of Jupiter and Mercury. For Hamsa Yoga, for Jupiter and Mercury, yes, it only happens
again
in Vadra.
Jupiter and Mercury.
Yeah, for Mercury and Mercury, Vadra Yoga only occurs for Lagnas in that. Hamsa Yoga only occurs for Lagnas of dual or cardinal, no fix. Rushaka Yoga only occurs in Lagnas that are fixed or cardinal, no dual. Shani, no in terms of Sasha Yoga, only occurs in Lagnas that are either fixed or cardinal. and
Okay.
what else? And that's it, right? I said them
That's
all.
it.
I said the
That's it.
four. But Malavya is the only one that can happen in any lagna, okay? Because she gets
Right.
exalted
Right.
in a dual sign, and she gets Swakshetra in a fixed sign, and also gets it in a cardinal sign, and she gets Mula Trikona only in the cardinal sign of Tula. So that is the definition. If you don't have that, you do not have Malavya Yoga. Don't
Right.
connect things that are not there. You don't have it, okay? Point.
Right.
Okay? Move on.
Many
Move to the next
people,
thing.
many people just pull that thing. No, no, it is there.
Yeah.
So they have a habit.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Okay.
that's why astrology was never meant for the common people. So
Correct.
that's the reality of things. So that is the definition of a Malavya Yoga. I just gave a brief, you know, interpretation of what I've seen. Are you going to say something?
Right. No, I don't want to say anything
Okay,
regarding the
great.
Malavya.
I thought that you were raising your hand. I thought
No,
so.
no, no. Actually, not.
Okay, great. So basically, let's talk about what the classics have to say about this. And as you mentioned at the beginning of the video, we get the Panch Maha Purusha yogas from two texts, specifically from the classic, the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, and Faladipika, one written by Parashara and the other written by Mantreshwar. So let's go to Malavya Yoga to see what Parashara has to say. So we have the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. We go to chapter 75. This is the Dr. Kapoor edition of volume 2. And we go chapter 75, shloka 17, 19, and it says, the Malavya native has beautiful lips and a slender waist. He's lustrous like the moon and has fragrances in his body. He is of ordinary red complexion, has a medium stature, a clean and beautiful teeth. His voice is like that of an elephant, and his arms are long enough to reach up to his knees. His face is 13 angles in length and 10 angles in breadth. He lives happily for 70 years as ruler of Sindhu and Malwa, and then leaves for his heavenly abode. So
I told you just I mentioned the Malwa region. Just I defined what the Malwa
Oh,
region was.
true. That's interesting. Yeah, which
Right.
is the origin of the Malavya Yoga. That's great.
Exactly.
We're gonna
Malwa.
get to that. That's nice.
The Malwa Plateau is there. If you read about the geography of India, the Malwa Plateau is there. Malwa Plateau is beneath. It is above the Deccan Plateau. Means it is a point where the North India and South India is getting divided. That area.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's very interesting. Thank you for letting me know that. So let's just talk about this shloka or shlokas, and let's go sentence by sentence. We see that this is a very brief description in comparison to the others we've read from Parashara. And it says the Malavya native has beautiful lips and a slender waist. So he's going to be a very beautiful person, which alludes to the
Right.
qualities of Venus,
Venus.
the planet of beauty, right? He says he's lustrous like the moon and has fragrances in his body. Very interesting because, as you know, the moon and Venus are the only female planets in Jyotish. The moon and Venus have a lot of common things. You know, they both allude to water. They are female. They both share the white color.
White color.
White color is very common among them. And, you know, they both kind of show certain purity. Now, as you might know, when moon and Venus is conjunct, it's a mixed bag because some people say it's bad, but from the Jaimini perspective is good, and there's a lot of things going on there. But, you know, they both allude to this quality of femininity and also fragrance in his body, which allude to that sophistication, that beauty that Venus is, which is accessories, things adding to the natural beauty of a person in a very good way. Then he says he's ordinary. He's of ordinary red complexion, has a medium stature, and clean, beautiful teeth. So Parashara is here just describing a very beautiful person. And as I told you, I've met people with Malavya Yoga. And I mean, they are not like supermodel beautiful, usually. You know, they are not like really hot women or very handsome men, like, wow, you know. It's a very subtle, graceful beauty, the kind of beauty that lasts, right? The kind of beauty that is not just subjugated to youth. It's the kind of beauty that you know is going to be there when they're young, when they're middle-aged, and when they're old. And it's a beauty that is very it's very refined, right? It's not just looking good or looking beautiful. It's just acting beautiful, being
Correct.
beautiful, and just expressing that beauty through their understanding of the things that surround them, through their relaxation, through their ability to acknowledge their satisfaction when they are satisfied, which is a very graceful manifestation, just like Jupiter. Of course, Jupiter is more of a spiritual
Spiritual.
wisdom approach. Venus is more of an interpersonal approach, which once again alludes to the metaphor of the planetary cabinet, right? Venus is the mundane counselor that counsels the king and queen on issues dealing with culture, current events, customs, that sort of stuff. While Jupiter is the spiritual counselor that counsels the king and queen, the moon and, you know, the sun, on religious matters, on chastity,
Right.
on high culture, on dogma, right? So that is the difference between the Sattvic. That's why, you know, that's why a Venus is Rajasic, right? And that's why
That's it.
Jupiter is Sattvic. I'm sorry, at the beginning of the video, I said Venus was Sattvic. I am sorry to say that. Venus is
Sattvic.
a
No,
Rajasic.
it's okay. Technically, you are right, because every Mahapurush yoga, the whatever the planets are giving, they are always, the yogas are sattvic. So it is not, technically you are correct, but Venus as a Venus and Mercury are
Mercury.
Rajasic, and Tamasic are Saturn and Mars. And
So I have to
Jupiter is
apologize
sattvic.
because I got confused. What I meant to say is that they were both counselors, right?
Right. No, it's all right.
But as I said, and as you had just repeated, the Pancha Maha Purusha yogas will manifest that sattvic quality. So far,
Right.
Parashar is just describing a very beautiful person. And then he says, his voice is like that of an elephant. I've never heard an elephant in person, but, you know, I don't know if it's beautiful, but at least it's, at least when I've seen elephant attacks. And when they get mad, it's really scary. But, you know,
Right.
an elephant is a symbol of power. It's a symbol of richness, stability, and obviously alludes to Sri Ganesh, that is the patron of Jyotish. At the
Right.
same time, his arms are long enough to reach up to his knees, which I guess it must be some sort of, you know, symbol of beauty back then when this was written, maybe? Are you gonna say
No,
something?
it was, yes, it was. I will tell you. It was
Whoa, whoa.
also in one of the very prominent leader of India.
Ancient
I
one?
have to, no, not ancient, not ancient. Prominent leader like the contemporary world. Okay, his name is escaping my mind. His arms were very long. His arms were very long, and his arms were reaching till his knees.
And he had
And
Malavya?
yes, he had the Malavya, but name I am not recalling it. Maybe it was Mahatma Gandhi, because Mahatma Gandhi was having the Tula ascendant and Venus was in Tula. I feel so. I have to check because I don't remember his chart, to be very honest, but he was having Tula Lagna. I will check it and I will
But
say
is it
his hands were very long.
of the famous leaders like Subhash Chandra Bose or Nehru? Or
No. Subhash Chandra Bose was, no, I am saying about Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi is
Okay.
father of our nation.
Yeah,
And
sure.
tomorrow is,
But he wasn't
yes,
the one
tomorrow is his
you're
birthday.
talking about, right? Gandhi was not the one you were talking about.
His hands were also very long, but I don't know whether it was him or someone else, because no, Subhash Chandra Bose was Aries ascendant, and he was having Mars exalted in 10th.
That's why I used the hat, by the way. So
Yes, and also his birthday was in January 23rd, and it is time when Sun is also getting Digbali in Capricorn, because it is in the 10th house, and I have seen. But I don't know where his Saturn was. I have to check also his chart, because Sun was in the 10th house and he was also getting bad.
just like us. So
It's okay.
Parashar is just describing a very handsome person. So like
Right.
voice of an elephant, long arms. This is a very beautiful person. But as I said, it's a very graceful beauty. It's not going to be
Correct.
just a beauty of the body. It's going to be a beauty of the mind, the soul, and the spirit, which manifest Venus' natural intrinsic astrological qualities. Now, it says, His face is 13 angles in length and 10 angles in breadth. So angles were this, right? Oh, you mean like,
Yes.
okay.
Angles means fingers.
Okay.
Like it will be 13 angles in length, and it means it will be a very
Big
broad
head.
face. Yes, a big head.
Okay, it has to
Like
be
an
a really
elephant, you
big
say. See,
head and big
because
face.
yes, because if you are measuring 13 angles, this is only 4 angles. So this is only 4 angles, again 4 angles, again 4 angles, and one more. So it is bigger than my head, and in length also it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. So it will be like this. Good head,
Okay.
good size head.
Yeah, good size head indeed. Maybe that was a symbol of beauty back then. Who knows? As you know, the quality of beauty stems from balance, and Venus is balance, right? So,
Right.
it also stems from youth, right? Where Mercury comes in and other qualities. But the qualities of beauty stem from balance, but throughout cultures, throughout time, certain things change, right? That's why,
Change.
in Japan, women would, make their toes very tight together because that was considered sexy in a time. In Africa, in sometimes some women
Correct.
use colors in their necks to elongate their neck because that was beautiful, and so on and so forth. And there are
Yes.
various
As per them.
forms of that throughout cultures in the world, which once again is a Venusian quality, the idea of culture, sophistication,
Right.
understanding from that mundane point of view, not from the religious point of view, which would be Jupiter. And then finally he says he lives happily for 70 years as ruler of Sindhu and Malwa, and then leaves for his heavenly abode. You talk about Malwa, but Sindhu, is that like a kingdom next to Malwa?
No, see, early Sindhu is the area which is Pakistan, Sindh. Okay, the
Okay.
Sindh province is that was the same point. The so in Sanskrit, what happened when the Aryan came here, they cannot pronounce the word sa, s. Okay, so what they used to say is ha. Okay, ha. So from that Sindhu, the word came Hindu.
Oh,
So the
okay.
people residing in India became Hindu. So
But that is the
Hinduism
river
is
in
not a
Pakistan, right? They're referring to
right
the
Sindh.
river.
Sindh. It is the oldest civilization of Indus Valley civilization. When you
Saraswati
can, if you,
civilization. Yes.
right. Indus Valley, Harappan and Mohenjo-daro. So what is happening there? You see, when the Aryan came and invaded, so actually we are now Aryan, most of the people. So they were actually using the word sa. They cannot say. They used to say ha. So they crossed the river Sindh, and after settling here, become Hindu. So Hinduism is not a religion. You see, it is a way of life. And
Sanatana
Hinduism
Dharma.
is
Yeah.
exactly Sanatana is the main thing, and that is eternal, which cannot be destroyed, or it cannot means something which does not have any origin, nor does it is not having neither any destruction point. So it is like the energy. And this is why you see the river, when you are looking at Malwa Plateau and Malwa region, it is from Madhya Pradesh till Gujarat. And after just Gujarat, you are finding Pakistan is coming. And the lower area of Pakistan is called Sindh.
Yeah. And that's why Europeans named India India because of the river. Because the first contact
Yes.
of the Greeks in terms of like invasion and all that came with Alexander the Great when he crossed the Sindhi
The
River,
Indus,
which is the root of the name Hindi and Hindustan and all that. Yeah.
right. So it is also there because the Indus River is very long river. It is flowing it is flowing from Pakistan till India. It is moving, and some part is going in China also. So it is actually it is coming in the 5 forms. Indus is being formed at the middle level, and the main there are 5 rivers are coming out of from Punjab. You see, so many things we have to take into consideration because everything when you assemble it, then you are getting a lot of idea from because all the 5 rivers collectively when they meet or they become Indus River in the Pakistan, that area is called Sindh. Full.
Hmm. Wow, that's very interesting. Thank you for clarifying that, because that geographical knowledge is very important to understand what Parashara meant.
Exactly.
And once again, we see that quality of Venus. So, we can summarize the Parashara shloka as, somebody who's going to be very beautiful, very graceful, and a ruler and leader. Now let's read what Mantreshwar had to say about this. So we're going to chapter 6 of Faladipika. Specifically, we are going to go to shloka 3, and it says, okay, the man born in the Malavya Yoga will have strong limbs, will be resolute, wealthy, endowed with wife, children, and good fortune. Will be prosperous, will eat good meals, enjoy pleasures, command good vehicles, and will become famous and learn. He will possess unperturbed senses. So once again, we see Mantreshwar doing a very simple, more understandable, more approachable definition. So let's talk about it. The man born in the Malavya Yoga will be strong limbs, which Parashara kind of said that before. Strong limbs are a symbol of beauty. Will be resolute. Once again, that graceful idea of just being clear in terms of what you find relaxing, satisfying, and know where things start and end in terms of your needs, right? Wealthy. Venus has to do with goods, with a lot of luxuries, accessories, gems. That's why Malavya alludes to the place in central India where they did art, and also gems and that stuff. Endowed with wife, obviously. Wife is a karkatwa of Venus Karka. So
of Venus.
Yeah.
Means
So
all the signification of Venus is highlighted here.
Yeah, definitely.
Luxury, vehicle,
definitely.
everything.
Definitely. Then it says children and good fortune, which stems from the wife, obviously. And remember, in ancient Vedic culture, having children was very important, which still is in India, and it should be everywhere else. But you know how things are. And it says will be prosperous.
No, now it is.
It is not.
It is. No, right now at this moment of time in India, after especially 1990s, they have changed their mindset. But you know, even in 1960s or 70s, they used to give the blessings. Like elder one used to give the blessings. Like, may God give you so much children that you have to count them before you go to sleep.
Yeah, India is the most populous country in the world right now. Yeah.
No, not right now. We are behind China, but
no. India is India is in front of China, I believe. Check it out. They just passed China like 2 or 3 years ago, right? Yeah.
We are having official. We are having 1.3 billion. China is having around 1.4 billion. I guess we are a little bit down.
Okay, we're gonna check that later on, but yeah, I mean that's how it should be. People should reproduce in terms of, you know, obviously within the family unit and the traditional scheme. So will be prosperous, obviously. Will eat good meals. This is very important because Venus has to do with sophistication, and you know, today we live like kings. A lot of people live like kings, but people don't realize in ancient times, you know, having a variety of food was a very high class thing. It was a very exclusive thing, you know, to have sweets, to have a lot of choices in terms of carbohydrates, proteins, fats. So that is something that you have to take into consideration. Then enjoys pleasures. Obviously, Venus has to do with pleasures. Command good vehicles. Venus has to do with vehicles, and will become famous and learn, which also alludes to Venus. He will possess unperturbed senses, which alludes to the quality of satisfaction, which alludes to the quality of relaxation and understanding of Venus. So, you know, we've read both quotes. Mantreshwar's quotes are more approachable to the modern reader. And as you see, you know, people who have Malavya Yoga will manifest a very beautiful grace in terms of how they live. Very beautiful people, but not the obvious vulgar beauty, although that might be there, but it's more than that, much more than that. Now, before we
Correct.
end the discussion, let's talk about the different factors that make this yoga better or worse. Okay,
Right.
so basically, the factors that you have to take into consideration, which are the same that we've mentioned before, are the following. Okay, first of all, you have to see the dispositor, especially if Venus is Ucha in Mina. So you have to see Jupiter, right? Because if Venus is in Jupiter, which is something that a lot of astrologers don't talk when they talk about exaltation, if Jupiter is in Capricorn, you know, Malavya Yoga is going to be present, but, you know, it's not going to give a lot of the good things. It's going to give good things, but there are going to be certain difficulties. Yeah, it's going to be smaller, exactly. Now, if he's Swakshetra, if Venus is Swakshetra or Mulatrikona, it doesn't matter. He's going to be in his own house. Now, the other thing that I mentioned, Malavya Yoga has to be from Lagna, right? But if it's from Sun Lagna or Surya Lagna or Chandra Lagna within the angular houses, then it gets more power, right? If it's
More
not in
power.
angular, yes, if it's not in angular and the sun are in apoclimas or panafaras, then, you know, it's not bad for Venus. But if the sun and the moon are in kendras, it gets better for Venus. Not necessarily for the sun, not necessarily for the moon, because remember, the sun and Venus, which is something
Are
that
enemies.
yes, no, but not only that,
Are
Kaushal, not only that, because it's very obviously everybody knows Saturn and the sun are worst enemies. Oh, and everybody talks about, oh, Saturn and Sun are the worst enemies because of the mythology and all the history behind it. But the sun and Venus are also worst enemies. And that is a relationship that people don't stress a lot. They are worst enemies, just like the sun is the worst enemy of Saturn, because the sun gets debilitated in Libra and he gets a bad dignity in Taurus, just like Venus gets a bad dignity in Leo. So you have to consider this. Go ahead.
One more thing I would like to put in here, and also when we are looking, see, like the Kendra house from Sun and Venus, that is good. But especially if it is the fourth house from Sun, then it is good, because the conjunction house is not good for Sun and Venus. Even if we are making a Malavya Yoga, Venus Karakatva is going to be burnt by Sun, because Sun is very aggressive in that situation.
Yeah. No, and let's say something else which we haven't said in the previous videos. If any Pancha Maha Purusha Yoga is occurring and the sun is there combusting the planet, it's not going to give the greatest of results. Doesn't matter if it's Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, or in this case, Venus. But in the case of Venus and Saturn, it's going to be worse. Yes.
Right, absolutely. Because the Karakatva is getting burnt. The thing is like that. Sun burns everything down. So that is why it is not good. Yes, not even in 7th house also, because 7th house aspect is also not good for Sun. So if it is present in the 4th house, that I believe is good. And 10th house is also good. Means 4 and 10 relationship for if the Sun is coming in the 4th. Like say, for example, if the person is having if the person is having Virgo ascendant, okay, if the person is having Virgo ascendant, and for Virgo ascendant, if Sun is in third house, let it be third house, or the 4th house, let it be 4th house. That means Sun will be in Sagittarius, and if Venus is in Pisces exalted, then that is a very wonderful Malavya Yoga.
Oh, definitely.
But if Sun is in the Virgo itself, then I don't think it is very good Malavya Yoga.
Yeah, but the thing is that astronomically is not going to happen because Venus and the Sun are always very close together.
Correct.
If Sun is in Sagittarius, it's impossible for Venus to be there. If Sun is in Sagittarius, Venus will be either in between Aquarius and Libra. There's no way it's going to be in other.
100%.
Yeah.
Because the axis is not so far away. The thing is like that. So we have to because you see
72
Mercury,
degrees if I'm not mistaken.
72 degrees. So that is why means Venus, Sun and Mercury are always 1, 2, 3 houses away from each other. So that becomes a little bit difficult.
Exactly. The best combination is to have Sun in Leo, Mercury in Virgo, and Venus in Libra. So, and that happens from time to time, and that is the best part, right? Or you could have the sun in Aries, Venus in Venus in Pisces, and Mercury either, you know, Mercury either in Aries or in Taurus. But I would prefer Taurus because it's always better to have planets separated. But those are the best combinations because they're always going to be the interior planets, or the inferior planets are always going to be very close by. So yeah, just what you said, and you know, the sun burns everything, so people have to watch out for that. Now, other things that increase or decrease the yoga is the relationship of Venus to the Lagnesha, right? If Venus is in the first house and it's in Taurus or Libra, excellent. But you have to see the Lagnesha, right? Because if you have a Leo Lagna, then we get this problem that you just alluded to. So if the Malavya Yoga is related to the Lagnesha, the yoga becomes strong. Now, if the relationship with the Lagnesha is not good, then it's not going to be that good results. But for example, if you have, which we come now to the cliche, the best friends in Jyotish are Saturn and Venus. If you have a Kumbha or a Makara Lagna, then Venus becomes a Yoga Karka. So if she is exalted specifically, well, not exalted, but Usha, or I'm sorry, Mulatrikona or Swakshetra, then that's going to be very good, right? Specifically, if you are in an Aquarius Lagna, it has to be in Taurus to be a Malavya Yoga very strong.
Right.
Or if it's
Taurus is if it is Aquarius.
Yes,
if it is Aquarius,
it has to be in Taurus. And if it's Makara, it has to be in Libra. That's gonna be a great one. And if there's a positive relationship in terms of
I had Makara.
Ah, great. And if there's a positive relationship between them, it's gonna be great. So Lagnesha always is there. Now, obviously, connection to the Lagnesha, for example, if you have that, but there's no connection between Saturn and Venus, then it's going to be great. Don't get me wrong. But if there's connection, it's going to be excellent, right? And in that Mahadash is going to be great. Now, the other thing is participation in other yogas. Is that Malavya Yoga forming other benefic yogas, or is it forming malefic yogas in addition to the Malavya Yoga? So you have to see that. Obviously, the influence in this case of Jupiter, which is a benefic, and obviously the influence of Mars or Saturn. Remember, Saturn is the best friend of Venus, but it's still a malefic planet. Don't forget about that. So you have to see the relationship within that, and obviously dashas. As I have understood, Panch Maha Purush yogas are going to be active all throughout life, but they get really intense during the Mahadasha. But if you get that Mahadasha in your prime, like we are in our 20s, 30s, 40s, it's going to be great. But if you get it as a baby, then maybe the parents are going to enjoy the fruits. If you get it as an old person, then it's going to be there, but it's going to be more subtle, more, personal than anything else. So always take into consideration those factors. And remember, Malavya Yoga, graceful beauty, artistic predisposition, great sense of satisfaction, relaxation, understanding, and diplomacy. And obviously, something else that we haven't mentioned, this is going to be, in my opinion, when I've seen men who have this. And remember, this is the only Panch Maha Purusha Yoga of a woman, of a female planet. So I've seen men, I've seen men who have this, and they are very, understanding, calm. But when women have it, it's very beautiful. It's very graceful, very beautiful. So I would make a little distinction here, because Malavya Yoga for a woman is just like, the icing on the cake. On men, it's also really good. But, in women, I've seen it's just very beautiful, without a doubt. So, yeah. Yes. Do you have anything else to say about this, Kaushan?
No, I just want to say that it might be Helen of Troy you are meeting with Venus having a Malavya Yoga.
Yeah.
Right.
Excellent. So that's all I have to say for the moment. This is a very simple yoga. Remember, Panch Maha Purushas are just the superheroes of the planets. They became superheroes. They basically manifest, as one of my teachers said, Mark Boney, they just manifest the astrology of great people, without a doubt.
Correct. So this I don't have anything to say because Fernando ji have explained everything very well.
Oh, thank
And
you.
right. So viewers, if you are having any problem or anything which you don't understand or something we missed, definitely do us make a comment and write it down. We will definitely come to your point. And this was KK Singh signing off for today. And namaskar. Be happy. Thank you for watching the video.
Take care. I wish you all strength, serenity, and wisdom. God bless.